Welcome to the Porn Reboot podcast, where you get practical tips to gaining control over your porn or sex addiction. We help ambitious men end their out-of-control sexual behavior with pornography, sex, and masturbation so that you can maximize your life, perform at your potential, and remain in control in the driver's seat, which is where you have to be in order to gain or maintain the success you want in life. I'm your host, J.K. Amazy, certified sex and porn addiction recovery coach. Welcome to the episode. What happens after rebooting? So I was at the Vatican in Rome 2 weeks ago. I was visiting Italy, so I thought, well, why not? You can't go to Italy and just not go to the Vatican, especially if it's your first time. And for anyone who hasn't been, aside from being a country and the seat of the Catholic faith, yes, the Vatican is a country, it is also a massive tourist destination. And I was impressed by the sheer size, the attention to detail, and the beauty of the art, especially the repeated theme of sainthood. There were these beautiful murals on the walls and on the ceilings. I mean, it was so beautiful. It was just beyond my mental, I think my brain broke because it's amazing to see what humans can do. But there was this repeated theme of sainthood and what happens to humans or our spirit self in the afterlife. And as a former Catholic, it got me thinking, what happens after death? Now, in the Catholic faith, when you die, you either go to heaven, that is if you lived a pure and good life, or you go to hell, if you lived and died in what Catholics call mortal sin. And there is a third place called purgatory, and it is an in-between state for those who are not perfect in purity, where your soul is cleansed of imperfections to prepare you for heaven. Now, regardless of how this sounds to you or what you believe, it is certainly interesting that human beings are the only creatures who have a concept of an end. What I mean is that to other living things, the end of life is simply a fact. But to humans, it is something we dedicate our entire lives to making sense of or preparing for. Think about it. We are so afraid of the unknown that we create the next beginning, the afterlife, heaven, hell, purgatory, or reincarnation, to alleviate that fear. Thus, endings are of particular importance to us because it signifies in our mind a new beginning. And of course, a beginning should be good, or it should be at least better. And just be open-minded with me for a moment. I'm not trying to insult anyone's faith. I'm not trying to do any of that. This is just a thought experiment. What if there was nothing at the end? So I pondered this walking through that amazing country/city with all these amazing themes and beautiful murals and amazing sculptures and so much deep spirituality and humanness too portrayed all around me. I pondered this and I came to a conclusion. If there was nothing at the end, then all that matters would be now. Now, some of you listening to this might be absolutely certain, you might have strong faith that there is something, there is an afterlife. I am not here to argue with you. This is not what this is about. But if there was nothing, all we would have is this very moment of you listening to this podcast. And if all that matters is now, then we owe it to ourselves to make the now of our lives and the future, which would be someone else's now, as amazing as possible. So our future now could be amazing based on what we do in the now today, but also the future now of our children, our grandchildren, everybody that comes after us could be as amazing as possible based on what we do today. A more specific example is If I am to help more men right now end their behavior with pornography or become aware of the dangers of pornography in their lives, they are more likely to be better fathers. They are more likely to share with other men in a future time, which will be now for them at that time, the dangers of pornography, because that is what happened to me. I was having a conversation with an intensive program client about a week ago, after I'd come back from Italy. He was starting to spend a lot of time doom scrolling on social media at night after his wife went to bed. And he was concerned and he wanted some advice on curbing this compulsive scrolling. My response was not to give him any tips or tricks. It is my last year of group coaching, so we really don't have time for tips anymore in 2025. I instead pointed to the bigger issue, his lack of a mission. Now, I consider a mission to be anything which makes another person or group of persons' future now better, not a purpose. A purpose is a luxury, but a mission, something specific, targeted, and large enough to span several decades. See, pornography is an escape from the beauty of the now. Pornography is a perversion of reality. Pornography is saying, my current existence is horrible. I must have something better. It also infects your future. So your next now will be painful, empty, and hollow. A mission can only happen through full appreciation of the now. Your now is so amazing, brother, that you want to share it with others. You acknowledge everything which has contributed to it, and you want to make sure future generations and your loved ones also experience this limited, uncertain, ending experience. Listen, any man over the age of 30 who does not lock in a mission of some sort in the next few years is screwed. See, I've noticed over the years that as men reach the late and maintenance stage of their reboots, those who do not find a purpose, which again is still a luxury, or a mission, which is something that you are focused on, you can do it. You can make a choice to have a mission, usually end up with some other sort of normie behavior, which keeps them stuck in the past or in the future. Or they just keep on watching pornography, albeit much less than when they first joined the program. Why is this? Well, it's simple. The porn reboot system was never designed for normal men. I have said this many times. Normal men want to ignore the now and what it means. If your desire was to quit pornography and go back to playing video games, to being fat, to fighting with your wife in your sexless marriage, to hating your job and living in your shitty town, then you followed the wrong system. I want to make it clear again. If you are listening to this podcast, if you would like to follow this system and your goal is just to quit porn, you're like, I just want to quit porn and go back to my normal life. Wrong system. Go back to your Apple podcast or your Spotify podcast and search porn addiction. You will now find, in the past there were just 3 of us, you will find many people who are speaking about this. These are the people you want to go and work with. Go listen to them. They are more politically correct. They are normal and they are recovery. This is porn reboot, not porn recovery. This is hitting the reset button on your identity, not recovering the remnant of your crappy pre-porn life. You were probably destined for mediocrity anyway. Ending your pornography addiction would simply have temporarily cleared that path to a super average life. Now you might be wondering, JK, what is this issue you have with average? What is wrong with average? Everything in today's America is wrong with average. The average man making the average wage cannot afford to pay his bills, invest, or build an emergency fund and go on vacation in today's United States. And you know that. The average man will feel the pain of the average American. The high-performing, above-average, type A man is not affected by average problems. You can be a type B man like I was and pick up a bunch of type A traits. You can be type B in some parts of your life, but when it comes to certain aspects of your life, you cannot afford to be average. It is not complicated. A mission greater than yourself will catapult you through the last stages of your reboot into a life of perpetual transformation. Men with a mission are not type B. They may present as type B, but let me tell you, they got that dog inside them. They got that relentlessness inside them. This works. The reason why this works, the reason why the moment you get a mission, you go through the last stages of your reboots like that, is because it is ordained by God, by nature, by the universe. We are designed to evolve, to transform, to grow, to become better humans, to improve our society, to reach higher levels of consciousness and transcend our violent, our greedy, our egotistic animal selves. And recovery does not get you there. Recovery only encourages one mission, the mission of bringing more people into recovery. Think about it. Every recovery movement out there is about the same thing. Go and find somebody, bring them into this, find more people, sit in your group. It's a step group. Find your friend who is struggling with this addictive behavior and tell them about this wonderful 12-step group or this. If you notice, we don't do that in Porn Reboot. It is very individualistic. We are speaking to you, that rare individual. You are the rare individual who will go out there as a leader and create your own thing when you have rebooted. We are not trying to create some sort of like following. I never say, hey, this is a referral-based program, guys. If you found this helpful, go bring another guy into the program. But we don't do that. We don't want to do that. The moment many people start doing something, the moment something grows too big, it becomes average. I know. You're like, JK, what the heck? What are you trying to do? I thought you said that you're trying to reach more people and you're trying to make this more of a movement. I'm trying to make this more of a movement of individual people who will end up doing their own thing, not to create a religion or some cult or sect around rebooting. Rebooting is about you. Rebooting is about your transformation. Rebooting encourages you to define your mission for yourself. Your mission does not become some guru's mission. Your mission does not become some church's mission. Your mission does not become some group's mission. It is the mission revealed uniquely to you by God through your transformation and your suffering, through the process of understanding yourself, forgiving yourself, understanding your past trauma, dealing with your trauma, identifying the parts of you that are problematic and learning to be compassionate towards those parts of yourself, confronting your ego again and again and again. Trust me, you're going to meet God in that process. Rebooting encourages you to grow beyond the system and become a man who is capable of creating his own system, his own philosophy, his own path. And that is why it is for the few. See, many of the men in the intensive program have already started building mission-driven businesses on the side. This is just one of the side effects, not the implementation, specifically the intensive program. In fact, so many are doing so that the next stage of the evolution of our program is serving the men who are on this journey, because it is a natural evolution. Now, did I think it was going to end up this way? I didn't. We just reached a critical mass in the number of men who are entering the late and maintenance stage who are in the program at the same time. And this happens because rebooting forces you to confront your potential, which you are truly capable of. And Josh, cut that part. And this happens because rebooting forces you to confront your potential, what you are truly capable of and what you want. When you can overcome pornography addiction, you realize that you can do anything. See, pornography was never the problem. It was just the symptom of some unresolved issue. And once that issue is resolved, nothing stops you from becoming the man that you are destined to be. And for most men, autonomy, free will, critical thinking, and happiness are key to becoming who they can be. These are the values of Porn Reboot. And what screams autonomy, free will, critical thinking, and happiness for an American man like running your own mission-driven business? Now, if I was doing this in India, if their values were not capitalistic, then their means of getting to the next level might be something else. If I was in China, if I was in Europe, it might be different. Actually, to clarify, this drive towards mission-driven business or nonprofit in some cases, some of them are nonprofits, is a uniquely American thing. The Europeans seem to have a drive towards other things, mostly some sort of like self-expression. That's just what I've noticed. And I know. I started this off from pondering the afterlife, and now I'm talking about capitalism. But build a business not for what it brings you, but for the man you will have to become in the process. And your mission doesn't have to be a business, of course, like I said. It could be a nonprofit. It could be a movement, if that is what you are inclined to do. We have many spiritually inclined men who have had spiritual breakthroughs in the process of going through this program. I am just a facilitator. It was not a JK thing. They just happened to be in a program where people were screened with the right type of people. It was the right time, and this breakthrough occurred. It could be a church for some, or something beyond the scope of our current imagination. So, to answer the original question, what happens after rebooting? Well, after rebooting, you transform your identity. You develop a purpose or a mission. You stop repressing your talents and your true self due to the shame of pornography, and you start expressing your God-given abilities to the world. So, if you are in your 20s, if you are in your 30s, and you are resonating with this, but let's say you're not quite ready to jump into the reboot system, or you are a brother who has already used our free system or gathered everything you can for free and used it. There are lots of men out there gaining benefits over the years. But you would like help in developing your mission. That is something we can help you with as well. I have a private mentorship program called 20s Mentor. It's very affordable, and the first 30 days are free. If you go to the description below this podcast, you'll see a link to it, as well as a link to get on a complimentary call with one of our leadership team members or one of our coaches or consultants and have a conversation with them and find out if we can help you with ending your out-of-control sexual behavior. And in January of 2026, when I officially transition out of group coaching, I'll be announcing the next level of the evolution of the Porn Reboot system. And I hope you'll be there, because it's an exciting journey for the next decade. 1 decade has been completed. I have accomplished a lot. Many of the promises that I made, actually all the promises, there's one more that is to be delivered to intensive clients by the end of December, have been fulfilled. There is going to be another decade, and I'd love for it to benefit those of you who are ready. I'm JK, your brother in this struggle. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Porn Reboot podcast. I'll speak to you later on in the week. If you found this episode helpful, here are 4 ways I can help you with your out-of-control sexual behavior for free. The first way is to grab a free copy of my book, Confessions of a Porn Addict, 7 Secrets of Porn-Free Men at elevatedrecovery.org, or visit the link in the description below this episode. The second way is, if you're not sure where to start, but you'd like to learn more about my team and I, if you'd like to spend time with like-minded professionals and business owners who are controlling their behavior, then join our free and confidential group, the Porn Reboot group on Facebook. There's a link to join in the description below this episode. The third way is, if you need help right now because you have a burning issue, your behavior with pornography is hurting you mentally or emotionally, you're about to lose your relationship, you want to live up to your potential, be an authentic man, and free yourself from shame, guilt, and underachieving, then click on the link in the description below this episode that says free coaching call. And the fourth way is to leave us a 5-star review if you enjoy this podcast, so that we can reach more men who are struggling in silence and bring back the lessons we learn from coaching them to freedom.